Psychosis. Psychosis is a condition that affects the way your brain processes information. It causes you to lose touch with reality. You might see, hear, or believe things that aren't real. Psychosis is a symptom, not an illness. It can be triggered by mental illness, physical injury, substance abuse, extreme stress, or trauma. So, gaming with mental illness, it's just like gaming without one. Let's talk about that. As for many, it's just like playing for fun, but for others, it actually has a purpose. As for some, this can include helping with coping with mental illness. For some, this may include gaming to cope with feelings of anxiety or depression, and for others, it can help ground or even manage psychotic symptoms, to a degree. And to some, this means escaping their harsh reality, but we'll talk more on that later. An example, I used to play games to escape. Now I do it to help relax and release stress after a hard day. So the reasons can even change in a person. The reason the game is varied across different people, same with people who game without mental illness, but the list is too many. But all I can say for sure is mental illness you can find comfort in gaming just as long as it's not turned into an escape. So it all started around June of 2017. My father was going through a tough time. His medication had somehow made him have an episode of psychosis. At first I didn't really understand that, but it all came crashing down and it became so clear. He was suffering from delusion that I was against him, that I had sold out our family. He blamed me for much of things at that point in time. Even to the point where he thought I was against him. That's all I can say. He blamed me, he shouted at me, tried to turn the family against me, he says. All sorts of things. Eventually, though, I broke down one day and just showed real emotion to him. And he cried. I've never seen him cry, or ever since. Snapped him out of it. Unfortunately, I couldn't say the same for me, as sooner I would develop psychosis myself. An episode. Be the first of many. In that time, I believe I was under a conspiracy, that people were against me. I could read their minds and they could read mine. I tried to warn my friends, I tried to tell them I needed help and that they were after me. And someone was after me. Anyone. But one by one, they just started saying I was a crazy person, that I was not worth their time, and that they had other things to do. Soon they just left me. I was left alone. I didn't know what to do. Eventually, the worst happened. I thought my best friend was out to get me. He just brought over my chicken sandwich from his house he thought it'd be a good present for me that day, because I wasn't feeling too good. I took a bite and I realized instantly what that taste was. It was poison. I know I've been poisoned, I just knew it. I rushed to the bathroom and expected a sandwich and I could see liquid coming out of it. I thought it was liquid at least. And I knew it was out to get me. That's a story for another day. Eventually that episode did end. And my dad was worried about me. He sent me to a psychiatrist and I just refused to talk to them. I thought I was completely fine. It was just the world out to get me at that point. But it wasn't the world, it was just me. And only me. Eventually my dad did die. 2 months later I suffered another episode. And this one I believed I had multiple personalities and that they all wanted to take control of my body. It was terrifying. And I remember one experience in particular. My mom was having an episode because of her bipolar. And she believed her boyfriend was out to get her. So she tried to drag me along with her. One by one, I thought maybe she was out to get me. Maybe she knew my personalities were controlling me. So I thought to myself, she's trying to take me down, I must take her down with me, or something else like that. I almost did something I really regret that day, but thankfully my grandma was there to stop me. She picked me up and I calmed down and I realized something. This was not normal. After the episode ended, I went to another psychiatrist to try to diagnose me, and they said I had schizophrenia. And at first I thought, how could they be so wrong? I'm not crazy. It's just, and then it hit me. It really was just me. Nothing else, just me. All me. And that thought really bugged me and disturbed me. Once I got on the medication, it all became so clear. It was just me, not the world. The world wasn't disturbed, it was just me. Yeah. After all this, I am doing much better. The medication's helping a great deal, and I'm less paranoid than before. Sometimes it does happen to me every now and then. Just that episode, the inescapable threat, it comes back. So, what is escapism?
It's a vacation from hell. Escapism is trying to get away from all the things that make you who you aren't. Escapism is the escape from reality, the escape from what you find a little too real to handle, things you can't fully process. But it's not sustainable. You cannot sustain escapism for your entire life. You will become who you no longer are on the inside. You will become somebody else. You will become what you fear, what you're trying to escape from. Escapism is not a good idea, but sometimes, most times, it is the only answer.
And for me, I believe escapism can be just kind of sometimes a relaxing occasion, sometimes it could be even a purposeful occasion, but other times I would think of it as a necessary escape from life, something that you only do in certain circumstances, but otherwise think of it as a vacation of sorts. Now then, the next question, how does it affect people with mental illness?
Not very well. It can turn you into a terrible person, but you can also learn from it. What was the question again?
How does it affect people with mental illness?
It changes you. The more you turn away from the things you're escaping from, the more you're aware of them. The more you escape, the more outside of yourself you become. You stop. Your mental illness gets worse. You gain negative traits you didn't like before. People in the real world start questioning you. Why? Why do you do the things you do? Why can't you just stop? Be normal. And then you go back to the thing you were doing to use to escape. And you sink further into a sea of distress. Calling out, hoping somebody will listen. Your mental illness worsening. The more you ignore it, the more it digs deeper into you, the worse you get.
So, what is your personal experience with escapism?
Well, it's not what is your experience, it's what are you experiencing. All I need to know is that sometimes I stop taking my medication for reasons I cannot say here due to escapism purposes. I eat to escape, I play games to escape, I listen to music to escape, I drive dangerously to escape. I'm at a point in life where things are slowly getting figured out, but I'm still in that spot where it's just, my life doesn't really have much substance beyond hobbies I can't afford and people I don't have the mental stamina to talk to. My experience with escapism goes deep into my life. Growing up in, albeit not a bad household, a broken household, with people, frankly, trying to figure out shit just as badly as I am, just with much more reluctance to accept what's really happening. Leading to me growing up in a strange place where people really didn't have time for me, and frankly still don't. They have the money, just not the time. And I've been neglected. I've neglected myself as well. So I'm not innocent in this, but escapism is the unfortunate temporary solution to what life has given me.
And for me, I guess it kind of begins where it all started back in June of 2017, that fateful June. I was basically alone in the world, and I had no idea what to do or what I was doing, and I felt so bad for it. I thought this was my fault, this is my journey, or something along the lines of that. And so I delved into escapism to escape this horrible fate. I wanted to just find a way out, but I couldn't. So instead I just drowned my sorrows out in the best way I could. It first involved gaming and such, then involved just drinking myself. Not with alcohol, I mind you, but other stuff. Yeah, not alcohol. Not that kind of guy.
He's not a drunk.
Nope. Anyway, it soon evolved into just me staying in my room 24/7, ignoring all the people around me, and eventually just secluding myself completely. I even dropped out of school at one point just to escape even further down my rabbit hole. But in the end, I did find a way out. Soon I did start not escaping anymore, but actually living life to the fullest and trying to enjoy myself for once. It's been a long journey, but I hope one day I can finally reach my goal, to find real happiness. Next topic is the good with escapism.
It helps you cope with things you don't quite yet understand. When all this was happening, I didn't even know. Those girls, some of them I saw at school, they didn't know any better than I did usually. I was alone in my issues. I didn't really understand them. I didn't quite know how to act. I didn't know what to do with myself. But as long as I was escaping, I was not thinking about how awful everything was and how badly I didn't care about living. Once I tried Lexapro, everything changed significantly for the worse. My dad is on Lexapro. It works well for him. It almost killed me. They almost sent me to an institution because I wanted absolutely nothing to do with life. And since that point, I'm grateful for everything. Everything. Especially my life. But that doesn't mean I always want to live it. And escapism helps. As long as you moderate it properly. You shouldn't be escaping. Escaping is never a good idea or a sustainable choice. But it can save us from ourselves when there's nothing better.
And for me, I believe escapism can be sometimes a coping mechanism for some people as a way to escape certain thoughts and feelings. While it could be good in practice, it usually ends in tragedy. The good that does come with escapism is a temporary escape from life, just a way to cope with things. Anyway, I don't have very much to say on this topic. This next one, though, I will have much to say on the bad with escapism.
you shouldn't have to escape. It's only a way to dull your senses and your suffering until you can actually solve the problem. But escapism makes us feel like those problems don't exist for just a while. And the deeper we dive into it, the more we change, the different we become. And I say we because I'm one of them. I still am, and I forever will be. An escapist. I love to escape. I like to feel free from my issues that are none my own. I did not ask for these. I did not go and find them. But I have to deal with these issues, and when I don't feel like dealing with them, I escape. I escape through food, I escape through lust, video games, even just hanging out with friends, doing dangerous things on the road. Coping is called coping for a reason. You're not solving the problem. You're just delaying the outcome you're afraid of for a little bit longer. I don't want to escape any more than I want to die. But having the two options laid before me, I have to pick one of them. And I believe being a part of this interview states exactly which one I indulge in the most. I've made no attempts, but it's on my mind quite often. Escapism is not the answer, but it may be the only choice. It's a drug. Don't get addicted to it.
And for me, some would say escapism can be the only cure, while others believe that it could be something of a nuisance or even a cure, but in reality it's not. At the end of the day, the only thing that comes from escapism is just an escape, a temporary leave.
I have something more to say.
Oh, go on.
Enjoying a hobby is not escaping. A hobby is a reward, something you get to enjoy because you've earned it. You've taken care of yourself, now go have fun. Escapism is not a hobby. It's a forced interaction with something that is not the real world. Hobbies you can indulge in and bring into your life positively. Escapism is avoiding responsibility. Do not get enjoyment of things you like and indulgence in things you like mixed up with escaping reality. They are not the same.
With that, I think we move on to the final topic of this discussion, which will be the balance of things, the balancing act of escapism.
Don't dig too deep. You can go too far and not come back out. People eat themselves to death all the time. People become rapists. People get addicted to video games and die. If you indulge too far in a fantasy, you will start trying to act it out. And you will go too far. Only escape if you have to. And by all means, don't make it your personality or your life's work. Maintain a grip on reality, whatever you make of it.
Honestly, I don't think I can do any better than that. Anyway, this will be the final topic of this video, which will be final thoughts. Tell me yours.
It's okay to escape, but it's not okay to become lost in who you really aren't. It's okay to not be okay, and it's okay to do things that make you feel better. It is not okay to give up. Do not give up. Never settle. Never stop improving. Never stop escaping from escapism. Find things you like to do instead of things you have to do. Find a balance in life between doing things you enjoy and doing things you simply have to do. Find a job you can tolerate and pursue things you truly enjoy, but do not escape. Do not escape forever.
And for me, my final thoughts would be just, at the end of the day, there is a balancing act, this sort of thing. You can escape into your own mind for a small time, but never let it just become that. Become you. You need to fight it. The best you can, at least. I think that's all I have to say. Recovery. It means many things to many different people. To some, it means freedom from their illness, which can include treatment and medication. To some, this means reaching a point of contention, which can also include medication and treatment. To some, this means expressing their sorrows from a long journey they went through. And to some, recovery means escaping their torment of their illness by escaping into fiction. Gaming is not the cure. While it can be a wonderful thing, it is not the answer. For those who dare to heal, there is hope. There is always a second chance for those who are willing to reach out. The best thing to do sometimes is not always the easiest thing, but trust me, it can be worth it. For some, this may include getting a diagnosis. For some, this may include seeking out help. For some, maybe admitting they have a problem. For others, it just means breaking away and finding a new reason to keep living. Whatever your reason for recovering, there is always hope if you try. And don't succeed, try and try again. To wrap up this section, I'd like to talk about a short story about someone who did it. They healed. She started out experiencing episodes of psychosis, and after many years and 10 trips to a mental health hospital, and suffering so much, but afterwards, all that pain, all that sorrow, it started to heal. Nowadays, she's working a part-time job with lovely coworkers who both respect and get along with her. She's doing just fine these days. In fact, she's going to school full-time with straight A's. And after school, she plans to go to disability completely, making $50,000 a year. So she's doing just fine, and she'll be on her way for success soon enough. Thank you all so much for watching to the very end of the video. This was a massive undertaking. I also wanted to thank everyone who helped me out with the video by answering my questions and just being there in general for me. Also, thank you all the people who watched this in general. You're the real heroes. Hope y'all learned something from this, and I wish you all the best of luck. Don't you dare go hollow out there.